Hello, high level listeners. Welcome back to another English podcast episode of High Level Listening, taking your English to the next level with side by side American English and British English. Today, we're diving into a topic that's practically everywhere these days: social media. Whether you're scrolling through your favorite platforms, sharing content, or just trying to keep up with the latest trends, social media plays a huge role in how we communicate today. We've got some great vocabulary for you and insights to share with you about how social media influences our daily lives.
Yes, that's right. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another Advanced Vocabulary podcast episode. And yes, like Kat said, we're talking about social media. It's almost hard to avoid using some kind of social media these days. Almost every time you get online, you might use it to keep in touch with friends or family, or follow the news, or discover new things to do. So today, we're going to share with you some really natural, authentic, and everyday vocabulary that will help you talk about what you like to do on social media in English.
Exactly. So as always, we've prepared two scripts for you, one focusing on the more American English and one on British English. We'll go through each script and then break down any key vocabulary, expressions, and interesting grammar points. And don't forget, if you'd like to download a PDF transcript of our conversation and all of our other videos, you can join our community here on YouTube. Each week, we release at least 2 new videos with transcripts, and there's a whole library of PDFs from previous episodes waiting for you.
All right, so let's jump in. Let's get started with today's topic. Kat, do you spend a lot of time on social media?
Honestly, social media is such a big part of my daily life. I spend a lot of time on Instagram and Pinterest, especially checking out the latest trends through hashtags or checking out what's trending in people's stories. I love following influencers who share tips on everything from recipes to lifestyle hacks to travel ideas. I've definitely fallen down the rabbit hole of reels more times than I'd like to admit. Those short clips are just so addictive. I'm not as active on Facebook these days. I feel like a lot of the content is really clickbaity, but I do use it to keep tabs on local events and stay updated in community groups. And I swear, those targeted ads know me way too well. I'm constantly seeing promos for new spots in town that I just have to check out. But honestly, with the algorithm feeding me so much content, I've had to be more intentional about my time online. I've started unfollowing a bunch of random accounts and trying to create more of a balance so I'm not endlessly scrolling without a purpose every time I get on my phone. What about you, Mark? Do you feel like you spend a lot of time on social media?
Social media probably takes up more time than I probably realize. I spend a fair bit of time on Facebook, mostly to stay in touch with family and old mates. It's great for discovering local events and getting involved in community groups as well. Although lately I've noticed a lot more clickbaity content and ads. I'm quite into Twitter or X as well. It's still the best for getting the latest news updates and developments. Then there's LinkedIn, which is where I focus on my professional connections. It's still really the go-to platform for networking, and I've built some valuable relationships there while keeping up with industry news. However, I have had to set some digital boundaries. It's so easy to get sucked into endless scrolling, so I've started curating my feed more carefully to focus on content that's informative or only from my close friends, not just memes and old videos. So I think I found a good balance. All right, so those are our scripts for this episode. Like we promised, we'll go back to the start, go through them again, explain our favorite expressions and vocabulary to help you talk about social media as well. So back to the beginning. Kat, do you spend a lot of time on social media?
Honestly, social media is such a big part of my daily life. Now, when we talk about social media, we're usually talking about platforms like Facebook, Instagram, even Pinterest and YouTube. It's where people come together to post their own lives, to post interesting stories. And just in general, all of these platforms are social media platforms. Social media in general is all of those platforms where we all get together, post our own things, and interact with each other, right? I think that's a pretty good definition of social media in general. So I would say, honestly, it is such a big part of my daily life. Such a big part of my daily life. I use it all the time. I use it every day. It's a big part of my life. What about you, Mark? Do you find yourself spending a lot of time on social media?
Social media probably takes up more time than I probably realize. So you might hear from the grammar, social media is an uncountable noun. So social media is a big part of Kat's life,
Mm-hmm.
and social media takes up more time than I realize. Every week, my phone tells me how many hours and how many minutes I used
Yeah.
it that week. And it's always more than I think. I think maybe 2 or 3 hours on Instagram. And
Yeah,
my
it's like
phone says,
nothing.
yeah, and then it's actually 6.5. I'm like, oh my. It takes up more time than I realize. If it takes up time, it uses more of my time. I'm kind of saying this in a negative, slightly embarrassed way. It takes up a lot of my time. It takes up more time than I realize. So I'm on social media probably more than I think I am. So, Kat, which social media platforms do you use?
It's funny because we call them platforms now, but we used to say websites. Like, what websites are you on, right? What social media websites? But because everything's kind of on your phone, it's like what platforms are you on? What apps are you on? So it's kind of interesting how that shifted from the computer to your phone. But I spend a lot of time on Instagram and Pinterest. We love this word on when it comes to social media. On Instagram, on Facebook, on my phone, on Pinterest. And this is a very common word that we use, I'm on this platform. That means that I've signed up for it. I'm a part of it, right? I'm in that community. So I spend a lot of time on Instagram and Pinterest, especially checking out the latest trends through hashtags. So if you're checking something out, you're learning about new things or seeing what's new, right? Oh, I'll just check out some of these new trends. Oh, that's cool. So this is the first time that I'm looking at it. I'm checking it out. And trends. Trends are something that is becoming more popular right now. Okay. Something that is trending is popular right now at this moment. So if something is trending or if something is a trend, I want to look at the latest trends. I mean, sometimes you can even look, last week's trends are over now. They're completely finished, right? If you searched for a hashtag, now a hashtag is kind of the pound sign. It looks like a little tic-tac-toe board. That's a hashtag. And sometimes we say hashtag high level listening, something like that. So it's the keyword that we would use to search for these trends. So some of these hashtags from last week, they're over now, right? The trend is over. People have moved on. It's not popular anymore. So I'm either checking out the latest trends or the most popular things right now, or checking out what's trending. So that's kind of like as it's happening, it's trending right now in people's stories. Now, I did look this up because I wasn't quite sure. TikTok has stories, Instagram has stories. Let's see, Facebook has stories, and they're all called stories, Stories. And when you post a story, it's usually for about 24 hours, and it's kind of something you're doing right now. So I often post to my stories, but I don't always post a lot onto my Instagram. So it's kind of interesting. After 24 hours, those stories go away, right? So checking out what's trending on people's stories. Okay, so Mark, what platforms are you on?
I spend a fair bit of time on Facebook, mostly to stay in touch with family and old mates. It's also great for discovering local events and getting involved in community groups. So, like Kat said, the preposition we use with social media platforms and all technology is on. So you're on the internet, it's on TV, it's on the radio, you're on the internet right now. So me too, I spend a fair bit of time on Facebook. A fair bit of time is quite a lot of time. So a fair bit of time on Facebook could be a couple of hours every day. Why do I go on Facebook? Mostly to stay in touch with family and old mates. You might know in British English, mates are friends, friends from school, friends of mine, close friends are my mates. I have my mates on Facebook. I can see my mates' profiles and my family's profiles as well. So I stay in touch with my family. I send them messages. I say, hey, how are you? How have you been? Sometimes I'll just send them a funny meme or a funny picture that I've seen. That is a way of staying in touch. I have some friends that we don't actually talk to each other. We just send each other memes back and forth. And that is our only form of communication.
Mark,
But that is staying in touch.
What is a meme? What is a meme?
A meme. That's M-E-M-E. We pronounce it meme. It's a joke. It's often a picture that you see on the internet. Often it is the same picture, but people write different messages and different texts on the same image. So you might see one image and it's 5 different versions of it. People can take one picture of 2 people and adapt it to different situations. They might be the same picture, but it's in English, it's in Spanish, and the picture represents a situation or a familiar situation that you've probably experienced yourself, so it's quite relatable. We might post some memes or some of our favorite memes in the community later to give you some better examples, because it's kind of hard to explain, but once you see them, you'll know exactly what I mean. But yeah, the English pronunciation is memes. Anyway, so on Facebook also, it's great for discovering local events or getting involved in community groups. Facebook helps me discover or find out local events, festivals, concerts, get-togethers, language exchanges, or I could get involved in community groups. My mum lives in a small village in England, and I'm in the village community group. So there's about 2,000 people, and they post pictures of things they see, markets that are coming up, festivals that are coming up, and they also post about their problems, like people parking in front of their driveway or potholes in the road. So it's a way to get in touch with the other people in the village and learn about the community. So Facebook, I think, is still the best place for that. Okay, so you've mentioned Instagram and Pinterest so far. Who do you follow on those platforms?
Oh, I love following influencers who share tips on everything from recipes to lifestyle hacks to travel ideas. So, an influencer is a person who is kind of a character or a personality on the internet. And if they are an influencer, that really means that they influence you to do something. They share some tips, they share some fashion, they share their life, and it kind of makes you want to do it as well. So this is what we mean by an influencer. There are fashion influencers, travel influencers, food influencers, you name it, there's an influencer. Now, these people usually try to sell you something, or they try to have you kind of participate in what they're doing. So influencer used to kind of just be a salesperson in a way, but I think it's much more than that. It's a very popular person on the internet. So I love following them. When I want to kind of, keep in touch or learn what they're doing and follow what they're doing, I will follow their profile. So I will click follow, and now I am following them, which means I will get updates when they post something new, and I will see it in my feed, F-E-E-D. So when you go to Instagram and you're scrolling up and down, this is your feed. Facebook feed, Instagram feed. Now, I like all these influencers who share tips. Tips are pieces of advice, especially in Reels. They're very short and easy to kind of remember. They share tips on everything from recipes to lifestyle hacks to travel ideas. Everything from this to this to this. This is kind of a good way to make a list of things that you kind of like, especially when following influencers. Now, recipes are delicious. They're really nice to find on the internet. And we've got lifestyle hacks. Lifestyle hacks or life hacks. HACKS. A hack is basically a way to do something easier. Normally you do it the long way, the hard way, but if you can get a hack, you can do things faster, cheaper, or more easily. So from recipes to lifestyle hacks to travel ideas. Now, Mark, personally, and I've heard this as well, people are using Facebook less and less. Why is that?
Although lately I've noticed a lot more clickbaity content and ads. So what is the reason Facebook is maybe getting less and less popular? Lately, or recently, I've noticed a lot more clickbaity content. Clicked is a type of advertising, or it's a way of presenting a video or a picture, and it usually has a big, loud, dramatic title, or it has a thumbnail and a person with a shocked face. They want you to click on it. So click is they want you to click it. If you click it, then usually that channel might receive some ad revenue or some money. Clickbait, bait comes from fishing. If you want to catch a fish, you put some some bait on a hook, and the fish grabs it. The fish sees it and goes, "Ooh, that looks good," and it's a trap. The fish gets caught. It's not good for the fish. We are the fish on social media. And their video is the bait. So we're scrolling and we see a dramatic video saying, "You won't believe this happened," or "This is incredible," or "Watch till the end, you will cry." Something silly and dramatic. Those are clickbait videos. The adjective of that, they are clickbaity. And this is negative. This is not a good thing. These things are annoying. They're over dramatic. I always skip clickbait titles or clickbaity videos because they're never as good as they promise. They're always underwhelming or anticlimactic and a waste of time. So unfortunately, on Facebook, yeah, I've noticed a lot more clickbaity content and ads. We've talked about this before, but on the internet, you have ads. YouTube has ads. You can skip ads and see ads. These are advertisements or adverts. And yes, if I open my phone to any app, it could be the first or the second thing I see is an ad. So I've noticed more of that kind of content lately. Maybe that's why Facebook and some other platforms are becoming less and less popular.
Can you give me a definition of the word content? What does it mean? What do you mean by clickbaity content?
Content, yes. Everything on the internet is content. Pictures and videos are content. It's also the word for the videos and the pictures that people make and put online. So we release 2 pieces of content every week. This video is content. And you can share content, make content. There is even a job title, a content creator. That's a person who makes videos and things for social media. We don't use content for a TV show. It is only media that goes on social media. That's content.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Okay. So back to you. Sometimes when I get on my phone, I get on it just to check the time or check my alarm. And suddenly I'm on Instagram or I'm on a social media app wasting time. Does that ever happen to you?
Oh, I've definitely fallen down the rabbit hole of reels more times than I'd like to admit. Those short clips are just so addictive. So I've definitely fallen down the rabbit hole. How many times do I say this a day? Sometimes, no, I went down a rabbit hole. I've fallen down a rabbit hole. So what is it? It's Alice in Wonderland, right? Where she falls down the rabbit hole and she just keeps going and going and going all the way down. So you can fall down the rabbit hole, go down a rabbit hole, went down a rabbit hole. This usually means that you got kind of stuck and you continued to get stuck and stay stuck on social media. If you've ever gone on YouTube and then you just watch the next video and then you watch the next video, and then all of a sudden you don't even know what side of YouTube you're on anymore because you've gone so far down the rabbit hole. This is very common. It happens to me all the time. Now, this is where some of the vocabulary changes. Instagram has Reels, Reels. These are the short form content, short form videos. They're usually between 7 seconds and 60 seconds long. YouTube has Shorts, Shorts, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikToks. I mean, we just call them TikToks, right? Or TikTok videos. Yeah. And they have short form and a little bit of longer form as well. So pretty much every company has their own form of this, but all of the platforms have it because it's so addictive, okay? Those short clips, those short videos are just so addictive. So we can use addictive, meaning I can't stop myself. I'm addicted, ED, and the reels are addictive. You know, with all the clickbait, with all the ways that people edit, it's so easy to scroll. They're just so addictive. Now, Mark, do you use any other platforms?
I'm quite into Twitter or X as well. It's still the best for getting the latest news updates and developments. So previously we've said I'm on Instagram, I'm on Pinterest, I'm on Facebook. An alternative is I'm quite into. This means that you use it. If you say I'm into Twitter or X, that sounds like I post a lot of messages. I put content or share my thoughts on that platform quite often. So if I'm quite into Twitter, it means I'm posting on it quite often. The reason Twitter is still popular, or X is still popular, is because it's very fast. Anytime there is an accident, an emergency, a news event, or an incident, it's usually the platform which has the pictures first, the updates first, the official announcements from the government or local police departments first, even traffic alerts and stuff go on Twitter and X first. So it's still the best for getting the latest news updates and developments. A development in a story is when something changes. Maybe a road goes from closed and the development is it's open again. Or maybe there's an incident and there's a criminal on the loose. The police catch the criminal. That's a development. The streets are safe again. And yeah, news sources and normal people use X or Twitter to keep up with these developments because they're so quick. Someone on the street can take a photo on their phone and put it on Twitter in 2 seconds, and then everyone else can see what's happening. So that's why I like that platform as well. I've mentioned that I use Facebook quite a bit. Are you on Facebook at all?
I'm not as active on Facebook these days. I feel like a lot of the content is really clickbaity. We had the exact same opinion, Mark. But I do use it to keep tabs on local events and stay updated in community groups. So as social media platforms get bigger and more popular, and then over time, you know, people don't use it as much, I would say that I'm not as active on Facebook. Now, when I'm active on a platform, I'm posting, which means I'm writing and submitting it to the platform. I'm posting pictures, I'm posting content, I'm interacting with other people in the group, then I'm quite active. I'm quite active on Facebook, but I'm not as active these days. I'm not as active on Facebook these days. I only check it because of, you know, some things like keeping tabs on local events and staying updated in community groups. So if I want to keep tabs on someone or keep tabs, TABS, on something, then I just quickly look for updates. I quickly check for updates. Oh, something new? Okay, cool. So I'm keeping tabs on it. I'm putting in some effort to try to stay updated, right? And I feel like a lot of the content, just like Mark said, is clickbaity. And if it's clickbaity, then it's like every other, post, every other picture, every other video is just something that is not very interesting, but is like, wow, you won't believe what's going to happen next. And that just gets so boring after a while. There's nothing real. There's nothing real out there. And because most of my friends are not very active on Facebook, I'm probably not going to be active there either. So I want to stay updated in those community groups. I 100% agree with Mark. Facebook groups are still some of the best community groups. So I'm still there. I'm still in there. But I just am not as active as I used to be. Now, I use social media for fun. Do you ever use social media for more work-related things?
Yes, I do. Then there's LinkedIn, which is where I focus on my professional connections. It's still really the go-to platform for networking. I've built some valuable relationships there while keeping up with industry news as well. So you may have heard of LinkedIn. It's a social media platform like the others. You could say I'm on LinkedIn, or are you on LinkedIn? You might hear that in an office. And it's supposed to be a more professional social media platform where you write your job title and you post more content about your work. I think the idea is that you can meet people who are in the same field or in the same industry, or you can even find job opportunities through LinkedIn. When you meet other people that do the similar work to you or work in a similar field, then you start to build your network. Your network is all the professional people that you know. So if I'm working on a video and I need help editing it, I can look into my network and say, okay, Brian is a video editor. I can ask him for help. Maybe it involves paying him for his work or just asking him for advice. But when you've got a professional group of friends or peers, that's your network. This is not a word that I use with my friends. I don't have a network of mates. I have a network of professional colleagues or a network of professional contacts. So all of LinkedIn is designed to be a little bit more professional and business-like. And that's why it's the go-to platform. The go-to platform is the best one. If you want to network, you need to go to LinkedIn. It's the go-to platform. If you want the latest updates and news, the go-to platform is Twitter or X. I think if you want reels and funny videos, the go-to platform is probably Instagram. But yes, so if you have, or there is a platform that's really good at one thing, it's the go-to platform. Yes, so I've built some valuable relationships there while keeping up with the industry news. Okay, Kat, back to you. Sometimes we might joke that our phones are listening to us. Do you ever get a lot of ads on your phone as well?
I swear, those targeted ads know me too well. I'm constantly seeing promos for new spots in town that I just have to check out. Now, this is 100% true. I have a couple of friends on Instagram, and every time I get an ad, I send it to her right away, and we usually go to that place the next week. Man, these are called targeted ads. So I live in a city. I like to go out to brunch. So all the brunch places in my city are targeting me, okay? They want me as a customer. So if they are a targeted ad, so they want women who like to go out with their friends, who like to go to brunch on Sundays, and they live in this city. So I am their target market. I really am. I'm the perfect candidate for this. I love coffee, so I will absolutely go try it out, especially if they have a really nice brunch. So these are targeted ads, and I think they know me way too well. I'm constantly seeing promos. Promos is a short word for promotions, where they might say 2 for 1 or, first coffee is free. So these are promotions or promos. Sometimes they come with a discount or some sort of special. And like I said, they're way too good because I'm thinking, oh, 2-for-1 coffee. Well, now I'll invite my friend and we'll get a discount on our coffee together. So
Mm.
I'm constantly seeing promos for new spots. That's a very common word that we use for a place, a restaurant, a cafe, a new spot in town, in my city, in town, that I just have to check out. I have to try it for the first time.
I know my phone's or my computer is definitely listening to me, because one time I was talking to my dad and he recommended a book. And then the next day I was on Instagram and that book came up in an ad.
No way.
I was like,
Yeah,
how did they know? That's a
it's too
targeted
good.
ad. Yeah,
It's
it
too
was
good.
listening.
Okay, so Mark, honestly, I mean, I love and hate getting sucked into my phone. It just really is just too good sometimes.
Yes, me too. I have had to set some digital boundaries. It's so easy to get sucked into endless scrolling. So
Ugh.
we'll focus on the phrase that Kat used in her question, sucked into, like a strong wind or something pulling you in. If you get sucked into, you don't really want to go, but you can't fight it. You can't resist it. Instagram and social media has so many funny videos. Oh, your friend just sent you a message. Oh, you got a notification. It's really difficult to ignore it when you get a notification or something. And when you open it, you start scrolling down, and 5 minutes goes by and 10 minutes go by. That's you getting sucked into it. So it's hard to resist. You get sucked into your phone or sucked into an app. So to fight this, I have had to set some digital boundaries. A boundary like a limit or a cutoff point. A point where I say, no more, turn off the phone and put it down. That digital boundary could be 10 minutes. It could be 30 minutes. It could be something like, when I get into bed, I do not look at my phone. I read a book or do something else. But I have to set digital boundaries, so limits on the technology that I use. So this has helped me avoid getting sucked into endless scrolling. That's my phone. Endless scrolling. So just scrolling. This is scrolling when you go down. Next picture, next video, next picture, next video. Endless forever. Just endless scrolling.
It
Scrolling
just never
forever. No
stops.
stopping.
It never
Just never
stops. There's
stops.
always
Just go.
more content, always more
I know.
memes, always more
Right.
reels.
Right. You never see the same video twice. It's just endless scrolling. Again, this is a very negative connotation. Scrolling is fine. Endless scrolling is too much. It's addictive. It's not a good habit or a good behavior. So do you experience the same thing? Do you ever get sucked into it as well?
Honestly, with the algorithm feeding me so much content, I've had to be way more intentional about my time online. So just like Mark set some digital boundaries, I've had to be more intentional. Okay, this is quite a good word more recently. Instead of mindlessly, just kind of your brain turns off and just looking through, you sort of need to shake yourself out of that and think, okay, what do I need to do right now? So I need to be more intentional. So I'm thinking, okay, don't let your brain turn off. Turn your brain back on and think, what do I need to do now? Why am I on my phone? Who am I? Where am I? So you are being more intentional. So not just looking at it with your mouth open, but thinking, oh, I'm watching a video. Okay, I need to put my phone down and we need to move on with our lives, right? So, with the algorithm is basically the computer program that says, oh, you like that photo? Here's another photo just like it. Oh, you like memes? Here's another funny meme. This is what we say that like the algorithm. So my algorithm is going to be very different from Mark's. I like certain things. He likes different things. So if I were to scroll through his feed, I would probably get a little bored because it's not the things I like. It's the things that Mark likes. But when I'm scrolling through my algorithm knows me really well. So I have to stop myself from getting too sucked in. So I've had to be more intentional about my time online. Now, how have you tried to make your time on social media more meaningful? I know you set up some boundaries, but you still use it, right?
Yes, I still do, but I've started curating my feed more carefully to focus on content that's informative or from my close friends, not just memes and old videos. And I think I've found a good balance. So I've started curating my feed. To curate is to choose, but it's to choose carefully or choose specifically. If you curate your feed, then I choose specific accounts, specific influencers, because I want my time to be more useful. I want to learn something when I go on social media. I don't want to just waste time. So maybe I stop following certain people. Maybe I block certain accounts. That's me curating or choosing or controlling my feed. Again, my feed is the main page that I see when I open an app. So what do I want my feed to look like? I want my feed to be informative, so I can learn something. It's something news related or related to my industry, an update that could be beneficial for me. Or I want to see something from my close friends. I notice that sometimes my feed is full of people I don't really talk to anymore. It could be a guy I met 10 years ago on a holiday, and I've just been kind of following his life. Now he's married and he has children, but we don't talk to each other. So he's not a close friend. So he goes. And instead, it's people that I talk to regularly. It's people that I'm still in touch with. I just want those two things on my feed: informative stuff, informative content, and posts from my close friends. Not just memes and old videos and old friends. And yeah, overall, I think I've found a good balance between informative and friends. Informative and social, maybe. How about you, Kat? How have you tried to make your time more meaningful on social media?
Well, I've started unfollowing a bunch of random accounts and trying to create more of a balance, just like you. So I'm not endlessly scrolling without a purpose every time I get on my phone. So, this is definitely true for me. I've started unfollowing a bunch of random accounts. I don't know, maybe it was the pandemic, maybe we were all at home just following accounts all the time. An account would be similar to a profile. So it is one person or the company, it is their profile, it's their account. And you can follow them if you like them, or you can unfollow them and remove them from your feed. Okay. So that feed is what you open up, just like Mark said, and you start scrolling, right? You start scrolling through your feed. But I've started unfollowing a bunch of random accounts. Why did I follow them? I don't even know them. This coffee place from a place I lived in 8 years ago. Why am I following them? So a bunch of random or, I don't know who these people are, random accounts, and trying to create more of a balance. So I'm not endlessly scrolling like Mark talked about without a purpose. Okay. If I want to be intentional, I need a purpose, a reason for doing something, right? Why am I on my phone? Scroll. Oh, no, no, no. I mean, I need to check the weather. Why am I on Instagram just scrolling again? It happens. So we need to have a purpose, hopefully, so that every time you get on your phone, you actually do what you need it to do. So excellent job, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. These are some useful phrases and expressions to help you describe how you spend your time on social media in high-level English. So let us know in the comments, what social media platforms do you use? How often do you use them? Let us know in the comments below. We read and reply to every single one.
Yes, we definitely do. And also, were there any phrases that were new for you in this episode? Or what was your favorite expression from Cat or Mine's script? Let us know. Don't forget, you can also get a PDF transcript of today's episode with every sentence and explanation. It's in a downloadable file that you can take offline and study in your own way. You can join us as a high-level listening member if you click in the link in the description below.
Thank you so much for listening, everyone. We will see you very soon for another episode. Thanks again.
Bye.